This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, we're here in Kerestir in Hungary, and one of the biggest wonders is mamish pele. You walk down the street like it'd be a regular day, and you look up at the telephone posts, and there's mamish tremendous birds, storks. You don't see this in Brooklyn. On the telephone poles, they have very big nests. And Dvarim Gedolim Einam B'Mikra, it's not a coincidence that these birds are here. The Gemara in Chulin says on Daf Samach Gimel, why is a stork called a chasida? Because it does chesed im chavroiseha. It's the bird that represents chesed. What city in the world represents chesed more than Kerestir? That's what Rabbi Shaila's whole avodah was, Gemilas Chasadim, and the Gemara says that the stork is the bird of chesed, Sha'osin chasadim im chavroiseha. Now it's very interesting. If you make a cheshbon of the number of birds in Parsha Sur'eh, there are 19 birds total in Parsha Sur'eh. 19 birds total. Rabbi Shua Heller, Talmud of the Goin, wrote a kuntris explaining how each bird of Parsha Sur'eh and Shmini corresponds to a different bracha of Shemon Esrei. Meaning, if you understand an eagle, you'll understand Magen Avram. Like Rashi says, what's pshat in an eagle? An eagle, it's the only bird that it flies highest, so it carries its young on its wings. So it says better that the arrow should hit me, right? Because it doesn't have to worry about a bird swooping down on top of it. Better the arrow should hit me. So if you want to know what does it mean, the Rebbeinu Shem is a Magen Avram. The Rebbeinu Shem carries us va'esa eschem al kanfei nisharim, and he goes through all the brachas of Shemon Esrei corresponding to the various birds. Now, you see, he's talking already. He has what to say. Rabbi Shua Heller says if you make a cheshbon, the 16th bird of Shemon Esrei is the chasida, is the stork. The 16th bracha of Shemon Esrei is Shema Koleinu. That means the stork is a keneged the bracha of Shema Koleinu. What's the connection between the stork and Shema Koleinu? So Rabbi Shua Heller says there are three things you need to do to have your tefillas answered. Now, stam, it's interesting. Because if the stork represents Kabbalas HaTfilah, why do we come here? That our tefillah should be niskabel. So it's like a siman min hashamayim, all the storks here, that it's a place of Kabbalas HaTfilah. But furthermore, Rabbi Shua Heller says there are three ingredients to have your tefillah answered. Number one, if you daven by yourself, we know, hein kel kaber v'lo yimas. Rebbeinu Shem looks very carefully. He scrutinizes the tefillah of a yachid. But when you have the tefillah of a tzibur, so the Rebbeinu Shem lets it pass. The tefillahs are born niskabel. So that means when a person davens with a minyan, they're doing a tremendous chesed. The chesed is, I'm mischased with my friend because without me his tefillah wouldn't be answered. So the first ingredient of tefillah is chesed. That's why the stork who does chesed represents Shema Koleinu. The second ingredient is you have to daven b'tahara. So the Gemara says that there's a Takanas Ezra, before you're mispalel, you have to go to the mikvah. Nowadays, the takana is batal, la halacha. There are many chasidim still go to the mikvah. But even if you don't go to the mikvah, at least you have to wash until Yadayim before tefillah. You need tahara. Says the Goin in Parsha Sur'eh that the stork, after Tashmish, is always toivel in the river. He's matvil atzmai. The stork represents tefillah b'mikvah. That's what the Gemara writes in Parsha Sur'eh. The third thing is, the pasuk says in Yirmiyah, the Rabbi Shua Heller says, what's the third ingredient in Shmias Tefillah? To daven at the proper zman. You have to know, Tefillah Shachar, Tefillah Mincha, Tefillah Marav. That's an ikr in Kabbalas HaTfilah. The pasuk says in Yirmiyah, Yoidea Chasida Zaman. The stork knows the proper zmanim. So that also represents Kabbalas HaTfilah. So here we are, we came to have our Tefillas Neskabel. So Rebbeinu Shem gives us the siman hashamayim. There's the chasida, they're watching, they're listening, and they represent Kabbalas HaTfilah. So legend has it over here that, remind me the name of the river. The Bodrog River. So they come here in the spring, summertime, and they feed off the Bodrog River. In fact, legend has it, one time they didn't have fish here for Shabbos, and Rabbi Shiloh was mispalel, and right before Shabbos, a stork dropped off dogim l'kavet Shabbos. But legend has it that the Chasida, they come, Parsha Shmini, when they're mentioned in the Torah, and they leave Parsha Sur'eh when we give them a farewell. So that's anyway. All of our tefillah should be in the skabel b'makom zeh, and we see it's not a coincidence that I don't think I've ever seen a stork. I don't know anywhere, and here they're in abundance. All right. We should be zoicha that taka all of our tefillah should be in the skabel.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.